Hi friends, Sherri here with you today, and I'm excited to share this demonstration video with you on how to best utilize one of my favorite props, which are sandbags. These are 10-pound yoga sandbags, and in my overview video, I explained some prop substitutes. You could use a 10-pound bag of rice, easily sub that out with some other hard grain. So today is not about a practice that you would typically follow along. I'm just going to be demoing some of my favorite poses and favorite ways to utilize sandbags. So that way you can incorporate them into your own practice at home or even following along with me in one of my other videos. One of my favorite options that I find very effective if you're short on time is to choose your favorite pose. Child's pose is a great one, and to use a sandbag, on your back and just stay in that pose for 10 minutes. It brings great restorative effects, lots of relaxation. So it's great if you're in a pinch on time and reminds you that you don't always have to do a sequence of poses to get benefit from restorative yoga or do a ton of time if you don't have it to spare. So in restorative yoga, we utilize the props to get us to be more relaxed. So you always want to ask yourself, is this prop making me more relaxed? And is this prop enhancing the restorative effects of this pose? If the answer to both questions is yes, then thumbs up, you're good to go, use the prop. If the answer to either of those questions is no, then you don't want to use the prop. Remember, we don't want to look for extreme stretch or forcing ourselves into a shape. It is all about relaxation and deepening the effects of the pose. So that's what it's about in restorative yoga. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first pose I'm going to show you is child's pose with a sandbag. So you would go ahead and get into supported child's pose in the way that's most comfortable for you using whatever props work. And as you come down, have the sandbag close by. And we always want to be careful with handling the sandbags. They're not very heavy, but still, you don't want to strain yourself or hurt yourself or wrench a muscle by being unintentional with your movements. So, one option is to take the sandbag and put it up the length of your spine on your back. It can be up kind of in between your shoulder blades and down your back. This is a great option, as you maneuver it to make it comfortable for you to just sink into this pose, find depth and relaxation. Another option for child's pose is to take the sandbag instead of going lengthwise, turn it to go across your hips and low back. And that's really going to help encourage to sink your hips closer to your heels in this pose. So, depending on what you're looking for, either of those options is great. So, to come out of the poses, we always want to take the sandbag off first. So, go ahead, you would slide that off and come back on up out of child's pose. So the other pose that has some nice sandbag options is bound angle pose. So again, you would have bound angle set up to your preferred method. It might be propped up on blocks, whatever it happens to be. And so you would go ahead and we're going to go ahead, you bring your feet together and there's two options for bound angle. So let me show you the first one and have both sandbags close. So I would come down into bound angle and I could take one of the sandbags and place it up along my chest here over my abdomen as well. So this is really nice for relaxing the abdominals and encouraging digestion and helping to dispel any tension. It also helps to release any tension you might have around your heart area, around your chest, especially tight breathing muscles. So this can feel nice if you have asthma or if you hold any tension here. However, again, we want to be careful. You want to make sure that when using sandbags in each pose, that you're able to still breathe comfortably. So if you find yourself gasping for breath, if you find your respiration rate has increased, or you're just feeling too much uncomfortable pressure, or you can't take a good breath, take the sandbag off. Again, we always want to make things more comfortable, easier to breathe, and more relaxed. So that's one option. And then to come up, the second option for bound angle is probably best for people who have a lot of flexibility. It's a bit more advanced because if you have more flexibility, it'll probably feel good to you. It will not if you don't, and that's totally fine. So you would have, any cushions or blankets underneath your knees that you prefer. And so it can feel nice to take a sandbag over each thigh, just like that. Place one there. Go ahead and place one on the other thigh. And so this is going to really help encourage your knees to open up, your hips to open up closer to the mat as you lean back. So again, this can be intense if you're not really flexible in this area, so do not force it, but it's a nice option if, according to your body anatomy, this feels good to you. So I wanted to offer it. So again, we go ahead and we move the sandbags and we come on up. So another option, anytime that you're kind of lying back and have your chest open, is a great opportunity to put a sandbag on your chest and open up that area. So reclined hero pose is a great option for that. So again, have it set up to whatever props that you need. And then in my case, I'll come on back into reclined hero, take the sandbag, and again, adjust it anywhere. You can put it on your lower abdominals more. Wherever you want it to go, you can place that sandbag there. Find that release in that pose if it works for you. So another option that's great to utilize for a sandbag is pigeon pose. So you would come into supported pigeon pose, according to using the props that you like. So in this case, I'm going to use it on my left hip. So as I come into pigeon, and again, most people, you're going to need like a pillow or a blanket underneath the hip here. For demonstration's sake, I'm just not going to do that and focus on the sandbag. So you take the sandbag, and for each person, it's a little different where you put it. So in my case, I like it like over the thigh, kind of a bit over the shin. You need to maneuver a bit so that way you can still fold forward comfortably and the sandbag not be in your way. So you want to make sure that your hips are still square to the front of the mat and that you're not weeble wobbling, that you're evenly sitting between both of your hips. So once you have that stabilized, the sandbag where you like it, go ahead and fold on down. And as you can see, where I have the sandbag, it's out of the way of my arms. I can relax, bring my shoulders back comfortably, and just enjoy the extra opening that the sandbag brings, the extra release of tension that it encourages. So this is, again, a really nice pose for a sandbag. So coming out, just move the bag off, press on up, and you're good to go. Another pose that has great sandbag options is legs up the wall. There's 3 options actually. So let me show you those. So you would go ahead and come up with your legs up the wall. And the easiest way it is for you to come up to the pose. So once your legs are up the wall, carefully take your sandbag and you can place it across your lower abdomen, so right above your pelvis. So this can be really nice for grounding, relaxation, and releasing any tension. Again, so long as it feels good and that you can breathe okay. The other option is, like I've shown you a couple times before, is taking the sandbag over your chest like so. The third option, you want to make sure that you feel confident in your ability to do this without dropping the sandbag, because it is not restorative to have a sandbag fall on you. And let me tell you, and you want to make sure that you're kind of coordinated enough to do it. So judge your own ability there. But one nice option is go ahead and bring your feet down the wall, have them still against the wall, and then very carefully place the sandbag underneath the soles of your feet. So underneath the balls of your feet, the soles of your feet. And you want to be careful. You don't want to strain your back. You don't want to strain your knees. You want to make sure this is going to feel good to you. And then very slowly, with control, bring your feet up the wall making sure that sandbag remains evenly between your feet. So it's nice and supported. I feel really good here that the sandbag is not going to fall and that I can fully relax into the pose, which is everything that you want it to be. So adjust to make sure it's even, because this is a really nice grounding pose. Really helps you feel close to the earth, really helps the flow of relaxation and circulation. It's all of the good things. So, again, just one you want to be careful with. When you're done with the pose, to come out of it, you would, with the same control, go ahead, bring your legs down, your feet down, down, down. And then honestly, I just like to drop the sandbag right there rather than having to reach and, maybe overstrain my back. So then the sandbag safely out of the way, come down off the wall, and bring yourself back up. So the last pose with sandbags that I'll show you is Shavasana. So you would go ahead and get into Shavasana using the props that make you the most comfortable. So you might have a bolster under your feet, under your knees, but for demo's sake, I'm just going to keep it simple. So one option is to take the sandbag on your abdomen, either lower or, as we've shown, lengthwise up the chest. And then the third option is really nice. It can be a little awkward to get into, so just take some time with it. Is to take the sandbag over your shoulder and upper chest. So you might want to place like 3/4 of the sandbag over your shoulder and chest, and then the other quarter on the mat. And then again, takes a little maneuvering. Do the same with the other sandbag. So get yourself coordinated and comfortable. So once you feel like you have a good amount of space in your neck so that you can keep your neck nice and long, then you're good to go. What this does is really help to press those shoulders down and away from the ears and help them relax more into the mat. So it's a really nice option to use both sandbags here in Shavasana. So to come out, just move the sandbags aside and then move over to one side, come back up like you would normally out of Shavasana. So there's one other item I wanted to share, and there are weighted eye pillows available. They are not 10 pounds, don't worry, but they are really nice for reducing tension in the face. I love them in Shavasana, but they can be used in almost any restorative pose. Bound angle, legs up the wall, reclined hero, anywhere where you're laying back and you could have an eye pillow lying flat is a really great option, especially if you're stressed and really want that sensory deprivation, really want to turn within. And a lot of these pillows, they can be scented with, lavender and other nice scents. They can have crystals in them. So I find that this is a super nurturing prop to use, is the weighted eye pillow, as a nice bonus. So that's kind of the quick overview of my favorite ways to use sandbags. If you use sandbags in a way that I haven't mentioned here, please feel free to share in the comments some of your favorite ways to utilize sandbags. And I hope this brings you a new tool to use in your restorative practice. And I hope to see you soon in a future class. And if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. So go ahead and please do so if you are able. And otherwise, I'll see you soon. Bye.